And we are back. The unofficial commentators back at it again. I think we've been out for a week or so. I'm very sorry, fellas, but we're back and better than ever. And today, since we're doing a special on UFC, we have our friend, our specialist, Amaury, joining us today. Amaury, what's up, man? Say hi to the fellas.
Yay! Welcome back.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
He's been here
What's up?
before.
I said welcome back.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Haters.
I hope you brought his pants this time.
Unofficial Commentators hosted by JJ98, Packy yourself over here. Remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, fellas. You know, we're going to put up some good content up there. Subscribe to the channel. Remember to also check out the report card. Remember to also check out our sponsors, Soloyo Clothing, right, Jay? I got that one right. Soloyo Clothing.
Yes, Loyal Clothing Inc. on Instagram.
Yes. And the beard products,
Scotch Porter.
Scotch Porter. All right, Jay, so what do you got for me, man?
All right, so this is a special edition of the Unofficial Commentators. Today we are discussing UFC 211 going down in Dallas, Texas this Saturday, May 13th at 10 p.m. I'm a little iffy on whether or not I'm going to be able to catch this live. May 13th is my mommy's birthday. But it's a big card. It was touted as one of the better cards of this year. The rumor is that they're planning, they being UFC, is planning something big for July. But for right now, this is looking like the biggest card of the year, headlined by the heavyweight championship bout of Stipe Miocic and Junior Dos Santos. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the undercard. I don't know exactly where we want to start. There's some names that I'm not too familiar with. I know that on the FX card, the main event is going to be, I can't call him defending champion. He's just coming off his championship loss. Eddie Alvarez
Called
is going to
former
fight.
champion. That's the
Former champion. Right, very good. Thank you. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
Former champion Eddie Alvarez fighting against Dustin Poirier. I don't understand how he ends up in the main event of the undercard of the not even the pay-per-view. You know, you don't even get pay-per-view points when you fight there, but such is life, man. Number 3 ranked in the lightweight division, Eddie Alvarez going up against number 9, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Similar records for the most part. They both have 5 losses, although Eddie Alvarez has 28 wins. He is the former champion. What can we expect going into this bout, guys?
Well, first and foremost, after the Henry Cerudo cancellation, isn't that fight going to be moved up? Because Henry was above him, I believe. Like, Henry was on the main card and Eddie was on the pre-card, whatever, preliminary fights. And so I'm guessing this fight got moved to the main card.
I don't think that they haven't made that announcement official yet. That is a possibility, but I don't think they will. And here's my reason why. And I'm going to answer to what Jay said as well. First of all, I think it's pretty clear that Eddie Alvarez's agent or whoever does the negotiations for him is pretty bad at his job. Remember, he only got $150K for fighting Conor McGregor. Everybody gets a red panty night for fighting Conor except Eddie Alvarez. So now let's start off by there. So yeah, he doesn't get any pay-per-views, and this is a great fight for UFC because now everybody knows who Eddie Alvarez is because he fought Conor, and you know, since he can't negotiate for shit, you put him on the preliminaries, so you don't have to pay him that much. And he's going to bring you a whole bunch of audiences. People are going to see this for free. This is just like free publicity for UFC. It's a win-win-win for UFC, and bad as always negotiations for Eddie Alvarez. That's how I see it.
Oh, the Underground King remains the Underground King.
Yep.
It's similar to when Big Rig, Johnny Hendricks, got dropped to the main event of the undercard. It's pretty much to attract eyeballs on a free card. I also don't think that they're going to move it to the main card. I'm actually on the UFC website right now, and as I look at it, they removed the Cejudo fight against Sergio Pettis, and I can clearly see that it's not there. If they would have made any moves, as in making this part of the main card, they would have already done so.
Okay.
I'm really excited for this fight, man, because
Yeah.
last time I saw a Poirier fight, I loved it versus Jim Miller. It was fight of the night. It was an awesome fight. I was completely surprised. He's going to brawl with Eddie Alvarez, who's another brawler. I think this is going to be a really, really fun fight to watch, man.
Yeah, no one in that fights Jim Miller is ever in a boring fight. Jim Miller,
No.
what's the kid's name? The Dream or the Nightmare? Diego Sanchez, whatever he calls himself these days. He's never in a boring fight. Joe Lozon never in a boring fight, and
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier add him to the list.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a really good fight. And Eddie also, he's also putting up really good fights. Even the Conor fight was still fun to watch. So
Yeah.
those two together, I mean, it should be a pretty good fight to watch.
You know, I think I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it again just in case. You mentioned Jim Miller. He is by far my favorite non-contending. Like, he's never going to be a champion fighter. If there's a rank for that, he's my favorite one at that. Dustin Poirier is a close second.
Yeah, back in the day, my favorite non-contending fighter was always Josh Koscheck, but that was then, and this is now.
Yeah.
In any case, when was the title defense for Eddie Alvarez? I think that was back in November. Man, he hasn't fought in 7 months. 7 months. Why do you think he had such a long layoff?
Because Conor has a heavy left.
Oh, come on. He's not going to put him on.
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't like a massacre. He hit him. Okay, he knocked him out or whatever the situation was. They got stopped, but it was not like, he was fainted or bleeding out of his face or anything. It was a knockout.
Well, I guess that's why he doesn't negotiate. He'll take the fight he can get.
Yeah, I'm not.
After 7 months, he'll be like, just whatever. I'll just fight.
I don't have any injury information or anything like that, but I'll go back to my previous answer. His negotiators are really bad at their job. I mean, why take such a long layoff? I don't know.
I don't get it either, but it is what it is. How do you see this fight going, guys? What's the result?
Go, Amaury. You're the guest, man. You answer first for everything.
I think Eddie takes it. By decision, but I think Eddie takes it.
Wow, by decision. Some guys that are going to go out and, for each other's neck and just swinging away.
Yeah, I don't see them knocking each other out.
Now that you mentioned, now that you're making us pick, I'll remind everybody to join our pick'em. We'll put the link to the pick'em in the description below, which I believe I'm in the top 2 right now in that pick'em league. So I'm gonna tell you right now what I'm picking. I think I'm picking Eddie Alvarez decision as well, just like Amaury said. This has all the looks of a fight of the night type, but
Yep.
I don't think anybody's gonna knock each other out. I think these guys are gonna go to war, man.
Do you get fight of the night not being in the main card?
Yes.
I didn't really know you qualified for bonuses.
What I don't know is if they have 2 separate fight of the nights, like one for the main card and one for the prelim
I've
card.
never heard this.
Yeah, I don't know this.
Same.
But yes, you could qualify for fight of the night without being in the main card.
All right. I want to see blood.
So the next fight is going to give you blood. Frankie versus Jair.
We'll talk about that soon enough. All right. Well, really? Well, anyway, yeah, I'm picking Eddie Alvarez. I am going to take him by knockout just to go against the grain. I need to make up some points in that pick'em league. So second round knockout.
Okay.
Eddie Alvarez all around. Anyone else you guys see in that FX card worth mentioning? I mean, it's always worth watching because there's a bunch of hungry fighters that you may not know, and they could become, your next favorite fighter if you watch them on the FX card. I myself, though, don't know many of these names.
I'll put it to you this way.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way. I follow most of my UFC news on an app called The Score. I know a lot of people use it. And I use it to see the fight cards and stuff like that. And I'm going to put it on the camera. Like, if you see most of these fighters for the prelim, none of them have their faces there. What does that tell? Look, like I'm scrolling through it. Like, you could see that these guys, they don't even have pictures on the app. So that pretty much tells you everything. Nobody knows much about these guys.
Well, there's a couple of them even on the UFC website that don't have pictures. So
there you go.
Damn.
All right, so let's move on to the main card. Let's not bore people with people that we don't really know about. So Cejudos and Pettis is out. Sucks for Sergio Pettis. Do any of you know what happens to a fighter if the opposing fighter pulls out like 3 days before the event? Like, does he still get paid? I mean, you got to pay, bills and you pay training partners and gyms and coaches. Like, what happens then?
Sadly, you got to pray to the UFC. If the UFC chooses to actually pay your salary and honor it, they'll get the money.
Yeah, that's why most of the time these guys take
That
short notice fights.
fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's why they take short notice fights most of the time, no matter what, because they want to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next fight, Jay, tell me.
That
What's
is
the first
straight
fight?
garbage. Next fight, we have one of your favorites, Jair Rodriguez, number 7, Pantera, going up against number 2, Frankie Edgar, the answer. A battle between the United States and Mexico. The 25-1 Frankie Edgar, former champion of the lightweight division. What the hell are you talking about? I'm wearing an all Mexico shirt. Why am I racist? And the 11-1 Jair Rodriguez, coming off a win against the prodigy BJ Penn. That old man. It pretty much is what it is. It's two guys with a really hefty gas tank that are going to go for it all with a lot of dynamic striking. How do you see this fight going?
I, for one, want to see Jair actually knock out Frankie Edgar.
What the hell happened here?
It got really dark over there, huh? Seems like you got knocked out. All right, man. Listen, Jay pretty much said it. Jair Rodriguez. This is one of my favorites. I've been hyping him up since he was fighting preliminary cards. One of the few fighters that I've actually been competing with from the beginning. Not competing, I'm sorry. Rooting for from the beginning. And he's gotten pretty far, right, Jay? I mean, you're witness to this. I've been hyping him up for a while. And, man, am I excited to he's a fellow Taekwondo fighter, so, of course, he's going to have my support. And this is going to be his biggest challenge to date, man. Frankie Edgar is no joke. If he manages to beat Frankie Edgar in this fight, this is going to be a come-out party for Jair Rodriguez. He can make some noise in that division in the featherweight. I mean, I can totally see his style match up with the current champion, which is Max Holloway. I mean, their styles are very similar. Yeah, their styles are very similar. Their
champion is Aldo, bro.
In the featherweight? No,
yeah.
It isn't. Isn't it?
Holloway's the interim champ.
Well, Holloway is the interim champ. There you go.
Why the hell is Holloway an interim champ?
He
won
the interim championship.
Aldo won it from, well, not won it from, but it was up for grabs between him and Frankie Edgar at UFC 200, and Aldo won.
Yeah.
Nope.
Then they made like a bogus
the hell is Holloway an interim champ?
When he beat Pettis, I believe. It was like a bogus fight.
Yeah, so whatever. All right, so Aldo has a title that he hasn't even fought for. Fine. Everybody knows Holloway is the real contender in this division. If he beats Frankie Edgar, this is a huge stepping stone for Jair Rodriguez to, to actually go up the ranks and compete for a title sometime soon.
Well, Jair Rodriguez definitely has all the metrics in his favor. He's taller. He has a longer reach. What Frankie Edgar has is the experience, man, the motor and the gas tank, and the fact that he really doesn't lose, these contending matches. He win them all. He just won't win a championship.
Yeah,
at least not at 145.
Here's the interesting part. Edgar doesn't knock out. So Jair has great cardio, and Jair does knock out, and he knows how to use his reach. I would not be surprised. I'm going to go straight at it. If Jair Rodriguez wins this fight with a knockout somewhere in the later part of the fight, ending of the third, maybe halfway through the third, because he has all the tools to do it. I don't see Frankie Edgar knocking out anyone, so.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to knock him out. He just has to outfight him. I remember Frankie Edgar getting up kicked by Benson Henderson where his jaw fell off, and he fought with, while swallowing his teeth, he fought Benson Henderson, and it went to decision. Like, it was bloody, bruised. He looked like a bursted hemorrhoid, and he still, hung in there for the remainder of the rounds. He doesn't have to knock him out. He just has to fight better.
That's a great point.
But that was like 5 years ago. Frankie's 35 now.
And I think
Rodriguez is 24.
35.
And Jair, I think, is much better than Benson Henderson ever was.
Well, old man strength.
That's an overstatement, but okay.
That's not an
I
overstatement.
think so. Benson Henderson was pretty good, bro.
And most importantly, like I said, Jair with his kicks, he knows how to keep his distance. If he manages to keep his distance and keep the fight standing, he should win.
If he does, well, frankly, he is a really good wrestler, excellent boxer, great footwork, and great cardio. He's also more well-rounded in terms of just having more skills different skills, not being a more skilled fighter. It's going to be a dangerous one for Jair. It's a risk he has to take, but it's still a risk. Amaury, do you have anything to add?
Well,
before we
the
make
thing
pick?
is that we're saying that because we've seen Frankie so much, but every time we see Jair, he's actually improving or growing or actually getting better.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up with some new shit this fight.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be enough though.
Actually,
Oh,
I mean, Frankie Edgar is not BJ Penn. He's really hard to take out. Go ahead, guys. Make your picks, and then I have to ask a question about something I've been noticing, and I just don't understand how this works.
clearly you picked Edgar, man. I'm going with Jair. I said it.
I'm going with Jair, knockout as well.
Jair.
Knockout? What are you?
Yeah.
Crazy?
Viva Mexico.
Third
No
round.
way. No. In third round, especially, hell no, it's gonna outlast him. It'll be a decision that goes to Frankie.
Hater. Viva Mexico. He is a racist, Amaury. Jesus.
Yep.
What the hell are you guys talking about? I mean, he just has to outlast him for 3 rounds, and we know that Frankie
Yeah.
got it.
That's too
All right. This is the number 2 ranked fighter, Frankie Edgar, whose last fight I believe was for the title, and he's going up against number 7. Now, I understand you putting a number 7 fighter against someone higher, but how do you decide to go up against number 2? Like, what does that do if you win? Does he leapfrog everyone else? Will Jair now become number 2?
Not necessarily. Ideally, he would, but the UFC rankings are a joke, and there's actually no way of actually saying, well, he's going to leapfrog him, he's not going to leapfrog him, or whatever. They'll just do it as they please. If they want Jair to be the next contender, he'll be like number 1. And that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's sometimes a little bit unfair how they get behind like one specific fighter and then just at this stage he has like everything to win. Okay, so Frankie loses, he's in the doghouse. I don't think he's gonna drop out of the top 10, but still, like, he drops a few spots. Jair skyrockets, probably passes a whole bunch of people on his way up. You know, how does he get this privilege? And you know, whoever the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th fighters don't get this.
It's about appeasing Dano.
Frankie is kind of in the doghouse. When you lose twice to the current champion, who is Jose Aldo, you kind of go to the doghouse unless that champion changes. And I think this is more about building up Jair. He's passed every challenge they've given him. And like I said before, if Jair gets it done, he's going to skyrocket. So I think this is more about the focus on Jair than Frankie Edgar. If Frankie Edgar wins, well, then Jair was a failed project for the UFC for now. Because he's still young, of course.
A lot of failed projects that have been left in the wake of the UFC. I don't hear anything about Mr. Sage Northcutt anymore.
Yeah, but he's
done
also
and
very
gone.
he's also very young. But yeah, he's lost 2 disappointing matches. And it's funny you say that because Jair and Sage Northcutt are very similar. They've been put through some challenges. Sage has failed. Jair has succeeded. So now Jair is getting some like a real fight, because this is a real fight.
Is this the first real fight?
Well, technically, he's fighting the 2 past lightweight champions. He fought BJ and then Frankie.
Yeah.
Again, they're both old, but you know they were champions.
Yeah, but the BJ thing, that should have been like that shouldn't have even been legal, man. That was not even fair.
Yeah,
Come
BJ
on.
Penn is pushing for that legacy league that Vitor Belfort was talking about for like over 40 fighters. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. We all made our picks. Damian Maia is fighting Jorge Masvidal. Number 3, Damian Maia, the silent assassin. No, he doesn't really have a nickname. Against Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Damian Maia, we've been seeing in the UFC forever. He seems like he's just a mainstay there. He's 24-6. Probably like 20 of those fights were in the UFC. I don't know where Masvidal gets all of his fights. 32-11. I guess he struggled a little bit, but now he's kind of on the rise. Tyron Woodley, the champion in that division, called Damian Maia. He didn't call him stupid. He said he's not a stupid guy, but he made a stupid decision fighting this quickly. Why would you book a fight when you didn't know the result of what would happen between Woodley and Wonder Boy? Again, another one of those situations where I just feel he has everything to lose in this. I mean, if he wins, great, but it doesn't really do much. He's already ranked number 3. If he loses, then he drops and he misses his window for the title.
Well, the thing is, it's all relative. I mean, like, he could have missed his window for the title for any amounts of reasons. I mean, like, at least he's gonna get paid if the fight actually occurs. But, you know, so I guess it's better to get paid than to be like, well, maybe if the UFC wants to, I'll get a title shot. Maybe not. Maybe someone else will actually get it before me, or whatever. Maybe they'll make the Wonder Boy Woodley 3, the so-called not so rubber match, whatever. I don't know. So I don't really blame Maia. I think, to me, the whole thing is I don't understand how this fight was actually booked above Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin. Like, other than Packy's explanation, this makes no sense to me. And it should be an easy submission for Damian Maia.
Wow. Wow, strong statement. I mean, I know why this fight, well, not that I know for sure, but I understand why this fight is in the main card. Damian Maia came off an awesome performance versus Carlos Condit. Masvidal did the same thing versus Donald Cerrone when everybody thought Donald Cerrone was going to kill him because Donald Cerrone was on a crazy streak. And Masvidal just pounded him in an amazing way. I mean, I know Cerrone looked kind of slow that day. I don't know what happened. Maybe the weight cutting got to him, but Masvidal.
He had been fighting too much, man. I think he fought like a month before that fight.
And he had been fighting too much. You're right. So Masvidal, he took advantage of his opportunity. So these two guys, they both are coming from a fight of the night knockout or submission in Maia's case. They're coming from really good fights. And I know what Amaury is saying, but I'd be aware of Masvidal, man. He has power in his punches. I hadn't seen Cerrone fall like that since Robert. I was gonna say Robert. Rafael dos Anjos. That was the last time I saw him fall like that. So it's gonna be an interesting fight. It's really hard for me to go against Maia. He's on a good winning streak. He's a more polished fighter. He has a better ground game. But I wouldn't sleep on Masvidal, man.
These fighters that take too many fights, they're not looking very good right now in terms of their records. I mean, recently you mentioned Cerrone, and we just saw, help me out, the Brazilian, Jacare Souza, taking too many fights when he didn't really have to. He got knocked out. You got a guy that needs to be in close proximity like Damian Maia to really be effective, because he's not going to knock you out.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 fights, he's won 13% of them by KO or TKO. While Masvidal is wild, he's a good wrestler, and like you mentioned, he's strong. He's really fighting with nothing to lose. He has a height and reach advantage. Well, he's not taller. He just has a bit of a reach advantage. Damian Maia, let's not forget, he cuts to 170, but he was pretty prominent at 185. So he's kind of a bully in that weight class. That being said, man, it's kind of a toss-up.
It is. It's going to be a good
just
fight,
for controversy's sake, I'm going to go with Masvidal on this one.
The only way I see Masvidal actually winning is because Frankie is because of Damian is old.
Wow, what a hater. I'm gonna go with Jay on this one. I said it. I wouldn't sleep on Masvidal. I liked what I saw from him. I like the power.
You ageist? What are you, an ageist?
That's a good one, an ageist. But like I said, I'm gonna go with Masvidal, man. I think he has the one punch power to ring Maia's belt, and I don't know, man. I feel like Damian Maia has been out for a while. It's a big weight cut. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna bring that performance. I don't think he's gonna bring his A game. This just like that's just what I think, man. I'm gonna go with Masvidal on this one, man.
Okay.
And just the law of averages. You didn't wait for a possible title fight, and then you ended up taking this. Like none of this well for Maia. I'm sorry, man. It's
yeah, but look at.
But did he get the fight?
He got it.
I mean, you just need to get the fight. I mean, when he got the fight, he got it against John Jones. Nobody beats John Jones, but still, he got the fight.
Yeah, but his career actually never really took off afterwards. Like, yeah.
It's like a Geico commercial. If you're Rashad Evans, that's what you do. All right, so women's strawweight title fight: Joanna Jedrzejczyk going up against Jessica Andrade, ranked number 3. The Bate Estaca versus Joanna Champion. That's how she likes to be called because nobody knows how to pronounce her damn last name. 13-0, Joanna Jedrzejczyk versus 16-5, Jessica Andrade. Just judging by this picture, Jessica Andrade looks like she should fight at 170. Jesus Christ, she looks huge. Um, I kind of feel sad for Joanna, but same weight class. They're both monsters from what I can tell. Is there any chance? I'm going to ask this a little bit different. Is there any chance for Jessica Andrade to take out Joanna Jedrzejczyk?
I think there is, just on her size. I mean, she's bigger than Joanna champion. But that's pretty much it.
She's shorter. She has a shorter reach.
Yeah, she used to fight at 135, though. She used to take those hits with those big girls.
I suppose. Is this a picture from when she weighed a $135? Like, she looks enormous.
Yeah, probably.
I know you guys can't see it, but go to that UFC website.
Sherlock thing
looks big. Holy crap! Anyway,
that's going to be her advantage. That Joanna is not going to be able to bully her so easily, at least not in the first round. But if Joanna tires her with like those jabs and punches, it's going to be a long night and a boring decision.
I don't know about boring decision. It'll be a decision maybe, but Joanna throws punches and bunches. She's usually fun to watch. She's kind of a savage.
Yep.
I don't know about Andrade though. She's kind of the Damian Maia of the division. 44% of her wins coming by submission. She has knockout power. I mean, she's gonna go after her. Let's just see what happens.
Have you guys seen this Instagram account called Sadvakas of the child boxer from, I think it's Croatia or something like that, or England?
Oh!
That she hits the tree? Oh my god. Well, you should look it up. Sadvakas. It's amazing. It's this child prodigy. She just broke a Guinness World Record of punches in a minute or something like that. Insane. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is that girl, but now all grown up. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is like the Floyd Mayweather of women's MMA. I don't give her a 1% chance Andrade to win this fight. She's bigger, that means she's slower. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is fast. She's not going to knock her out. She doesn't knock anybody out. She's just going to connect 150,000 punches and win by decision. That's what Joanna does. She is going to keep dominating this division until somebody that's faster than her comes along. She wins with speed, not with power. I don't think power is going to beat her. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is going to win this fight. No doubt. No doubt about it in my mind.
Wow. All right, well, I'm also going to go with Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I hope she wins this fight and then moves up to 125 and fights Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. The only difference is that Demetrius Johnson can finish fights, but they're the same type of fighter, man. They just dominate that division too much.
No, he does finish fights.
That he what?
You
said he what? He doesn't, you said?
He does finish fights. He's the beast.
Yeah, that's what I said. She's like the Mighty Mouse of that division, except that Mighty Mouse finishes fights. Because Joanna's not that much of a finisher. She's a striker. Yeah. She's a point girl, you know.
Yeah, Joanna started pretty cool when she won the title against Carlos Esparza, then defended against Jessica Penne. But then, to me, her other fights has been like, okay, well, this isn't exactly what I want to see on two girls fighting. I'd rather they kill each other like they killed Carlos Esparza or Jessica, but I'm not going to go with Jessica here, Andrade.
Oh, against the grain. Wow.
Yeah, she's going to sit on her and
for the upset.
New champion. Yeah. New champion.
Going for the upset. Hey, man, go at it. Maybe it's time for some change.
Pick'em will give you extra points for that, I believe.
Probably like plus 400. Plus, now that we're speaking about some of these women fighters in MMA, what's been going on with the other divisions? I haven't heard a single thing about Amanda Nunes since she won her last fight.
I haven't heard anything about any other woman.
Is there like a single challenger? Is there anything happening there? Well,
because then
Nunes, nothing. Jermaine Duraname won that really boring 145-pound
and
title.
Never showed up.
That they hand created for Chris Cyborg, and then after that, like, there's no one else that weighs 145 pounds that can throw a punch.
Yep.
Yeah. Chris Cyborg will fight for the 145 title. I think.
And then she will sit there and rot because there is not another woman that is 145 pounds that's willing to fucking fight.
Yeah, especially if she's gonna be the champion. Nobody's gonna want to fight her. But it's funny you say that about Amanda Nunes. I don't know what's going on. There have been some fights on FX cards on fight nights, There have been some women fights in that weight class, but nothing really moving. I can't wait to see Shevchenko, actually get a shot versus Nunes. That should be fun to watch whenever that happens.
Give me anyone versus Nunes. I mean, she was a really hot commodity for a while. This is
I
someone you
think,
should like put some backing on. She was complaining, right, that while she's getting crowned and giving her title back, they're playing a Metro PCS commercial with Ronda Rousey. And she was like, "Oh fuck that!" Going on social media and telling everybody to go kiss her ass. And then you fucking shelf her and put her on ice. No, man, I want some more Amanda Nunes. What's going on?
I think this is me just speculating. Maybe the UFC is just trying to calm down the division so people could erase Ronda Rousey. Because if Amanda Nunes fights right away, everybody's gonna talk about Ronda Rousey. It's kind of like what happened with Holly Holm, and clearly UFC is done with Ronda. I think they're just trying to get people not to talk about Ronda anymore. Maybe they're just giving it some time. That's just
Well,
me
how the hell does
speculating.
that happen? So put her be like, don't make her the last person that she beat. If this is the case, you want to move on from Ronda, have her fight 7 more girls in 7 months, beat all their asses, and then Ronda's like number 8 all the way back in 2016 when they beat her ass.
Yeah, man. Well, but that's a good question, man. That's a fair statement. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, the main event of this card is for the heavyweight title is Stipe Miocic against Junior Dos Santos. At 16-2, Stipe Miocic is the champion. Junior Dos Santos is ranked number 4. Cigano Dos Santos is 18-4, former champion. Fallen in love with his boxing as of late. 18-4. I would have thought he had lost more fights. I kind of thought he was on a downturn, but it is what it is. I don't like something about this whole division, and it's just, why is there such a severe difference in weights? Like, it goes from 226 to, or 225 to, what is it, the 265?
265.
That's ridiculous. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's another question I really don't know how to answer, because for all other weight classes, no fight is legal unless they're within 5 pounds of the other fighter. So, like, if you don't make weight, you can still fight as long as you're not more than 5 pounds heavier or lighter. But I don't know why heavyweight is such big. But heavyweight has always been like that in boxing as well. So maybe it's just for heavyweights, it's like open. It doesn't.
Yeah,
There's no really.
I don't understand this tendency of making like all these lighter divisions. Like every time they add a new division, they go lighter. They keep going lighter. Now they're up to 125 pounds. And if they make another division, they're trying to go like somewhere in between like 170 and 185. Why don't you go heavier? Like, I'm not saying necessarily create a new one, but or maybe do create a new one, make a super heavyweight, but stop heavyweight at 240 maybe. Like, what the hell? You know, the dude with a 25-pound weight advantage over you is too much. You know, when Brock Lesnar beat Randy Couture, he didn't beat him because of any kind of athleticism or fighting skill. It was pure weight. He just put his weight on him and just pounded him. He gave him like 134 hammer fists. They didn't even look like strong hammer fists, but I bet they're strong when they're coming from fucking Brock Lesnar, who was at the peak of whatever it was that he could weigh. And after that, after he hydrated, probably weighing like 300 pounds.
See it this way. I mean, that's the fun part about heavyweights. Because to be honest, heavyweight fights in UFC are rather boring. These guys get tired 2 minutes into the fight. They're really slow.
Yeah,
and
but like I said,
sluggish.
cap it at 240, right? Make it so that you don't have 265 guys going against the 240, or necessarily like, yeah, you can look forward to seeing that you're describing at 265 at the super heavyweight, and give me the heavies, but not so heavy, no more than 240, because these dudes here, Miocic and Dos Santos, they're pretty quick. They're light on their feet.
I'll tell you this much.
These
though.
aren't the dudes that are gonna get tired in the first round.
I'll tell you this much though. UFC has been lacking heavyweight talent for a while now. It's hard for them to go heavier because they'll have to look for more fighters that they don't even have. You know, it's easier to find lighter fighters. There is a lot more talent in the lighter divisions, but heavyweight.
Yes and no. I get what you're saying, but a lot of these fighters have to cut excessively to make these weights, and this is becoming increasingly harder when they can't like use what's that shit called, the IV, to hydrate again.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are fighting at a more natural fight, even though they're smaller. You know, i.e. Johnny Hendricks and Kevin Gastelum.
No, I got you, but the talent is lacking, man, at heavyweight. Seriously, it's not good.
Yeah, you have to boost it, but a lot of these fights feel unfair. Like a lot of super heavyweights, in my opinion, are coming up now. Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis. These are dudes that are pushing the boundaries on 265. Uh, if you make a super heavyweight and then you don't have to have Stipe Miocic compete against Roy Nelson, Roy Nelson might actually have a chance of being a champion.
Yeah, but are they really champions, Jay? That's what you got. Like when you see a fighter coming
I
up,
mean,
you could
they're not
tell.
going to be any more or less a champion than Jeraine de Mannermay, whatever her name is, at women's
Eh,
145. There's
that
no one else there.
that she was a casualty of Cyborg's illness, man, because of the cuts that couldn't fight in time. She is gonna give up that title as soon as she gets into the ring again. You know that, so it's not a fair statement. But I'll tell you this much, man.
But hey, listen, it's gonna go down in her Wikipedia page as she's being a champion, the first
Yeah.
ever champion at 155.
Yeah, she gotta give me. That's fine.
Well, it wasn't really a
So
gimme fight,
make a
though.
tournament for super heavies and have Roy Nelson win it, and he'll be the first 285 or 265 pound champion whose belt doesn't fit around his waist.
I don't agree, man. There's no talent there. There's gonna be bad champions. I don't agree with that. Screw it. I prefer to see the big guys clobbering the smaller big guys. Or getting winded and falling. That's even funnier. Oh man.
Rest in peace, Kimbo Slice, by the way. And out of 500, who died in the ring and got revived by being punched in the face. Most people have to get like that whole the palates clear. He just got punched in the face and woke up.
Oh my God.
All right, so how do we see this fight going?
Well, actually, my heart wants JDS to win, but my mind says Stipe. I mean, you know what I hate about guys like JDS and Jose Aldo, by the way, is that every time you watch one of their fights, you're gonna hear Joe Rogan, Goldberg, or whomever's doing it now. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he has a black belt on Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ by Renzo Gracie, fucking Shingeki, whatever," and you're never actually gonna see him take someone down and actually submit someone. You're never gonna see him go for an armbar. I mean, like, these guys, they fell in love with their boxing, as you said, and that's all you're gonna see him do. So, heavyweights, Stipe is a very hard hitter, and he's very fast like JDS. So this time around, I see Stipe actually knocking JDS down. And I'm not even sold on Stipe as a champion, but I just think JDS is going to beat himself.
What?
JDS change his strategy, maybe try to put a couple of punches and then try taking him down and maybe submitting him or whatever, I'll be happy. But he's probably not going to do that. He's just probably going to stick with his boxing and hope he wins.
Well, I'm going to... Wow.
What the hell happened there?
Even your
that
dog,
was a Kraken.
Even your Kraken
The hounds
dog,
of hell are calling.
even your dog got upset at that comment, man. Stipe Miocic is probably like the first real awesome athlete at the heavyweight division that I've seen with a championship belt. Well, you can make a statement maybe for Frank Mir, I don't know, but Stipe Miocic is awesome. Stipe. For whoever said that nothing grows in Cleveland, go look at Stipe, man. Stipe is awesome, and I think he is going to.
He broke the curse.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win versus Junior Dos Santos. I think he's going to outrun him. I think he has way better cardio. I think he's faster, and I think moving into the later rounds, if it gets to championship rounds, I can see Miocic finishing this fight because I don't think Junior has the cardio to stand up with him. Remember, this was Junior's problem versus Cain Velasquez. Stipe, what is it, Stipe Miocic? Stipe Miocic is like Cain Velasquez on steroids when it comes to cardio. So I'm sticking with the champion Stipe for this one.
Well, though, they're two different beasts. I mean, Cain has a game plan that's going to wear you down. It's going to take all your cardio away. Stipe is not really going to do that against Junior.
But he's going to hold his ground.
Cardio shouldn't be that much of an issue here.
He's going to hold his own. I think cardio is always an issue when it comes to heavyweights. That's how I see it.
I do think that Stipe is going to clip Junior and knock him out, sadly.
Well, there you go.
Even with everything I said before, this is a really poor time in the heavyweight division. I'm looking at these fighters and I'm absolutely not excited at all. 2013. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but come on, man. How many goddamn times are we going to think, why doesn't this guy go away from the boxing? Like, do something else. Like, throw a kick in here and there once in a while. Stipe Miocic, though, he surprised me. His last fight was against Overeem, right?
Yep.
It was just a beautiful.
But for a moment there, I thought he was kind of loopy. How do I see this going? I don't know. I mean, Dos Santos is a much crisper puncher, and I get a feeling that with 2 title fights, one of them has to change hands, and we're saying that Joanna is not losing her championship. I honestly fear for Miocic. I don't know. I'm going to rely on the championship advantage. I do not think that Miocic can take him out. I do not agree with you about this whole cardio point. Junior Dos Santos has the cardio of a soccer player. What's wrong with you? What JDS are you watching?
I don't know what was the last time you saw JDS, but the last time I saw JDS, the last couple of times, he's looked sluggish, man. He's looked slow, he's looked tired later in the rounds, not at first, of course.
I don't.
So, the last time Stipe won the belt, I think
I don't see him winded, really. I just see him not doing a lot of.
And I'll tell you this. Junior Dos Santos gave birth just a couple of months ago. God bless him.
Say again?
Junior Dos Santos gave birth just a couple of months ago. God bless his child. But, yeah, man, he's changing diapers. He's taking care of kids. It's probably taking a toll on him.
He gave birth.
Yeah.
A child came out of his pee-pee?
Not him, literally. His wife, of course. But you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure he's been distracted, so he's going down.
He's probably hungry for money, though.
Yeah.
He probably needs that.
You gotta buy them diapers.
You gotta sleep, man. You gotta sleep. If any, I don't have a kid, but if anything I've learned from all my friends who've had a kid, you don't sleep the first couple of months.
I slept that far. That's probably why I'm divorced.
So, when Stipe won the title, that pretty much broke the curse for Cleveland, and then the Cavaliers won it. If Stipe loses, does that pretty much mean that we can bet against the Cavs this year?
Oh my God! Of course not.
They're not related or anything?
Nope. LeBron is the man. That's not gonna happen. LeBron is at an all-time great level right now.
If Stipe Miocic wins, Stipe loses and LeBron breaks a kneecap. That's an interesting point. I'll keep an eye out for that after this Saturday. All right, guys. So I got Stipe, even though I'm not 100% confident in that one. I think I'm already picked JDS.
No, I got Stipe, sadly.
You're going for the upset?
No, Stipe.
All right, so it's unanimous. We're picking Stipe to win this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Conor McGregor had a baby. Congratulations to him. Let's hope we see him getting his ass whipped in any kind of combat sport soon.
I disagree. I do not want to see him getting his ass kicked. I want to see him succeed.
Boxing match this weekend. Packy has some thoughts. Packy, close us out with your thoughts on the boxing match.
Oh yeah, the boxing match that just happened. My advice to
he's made too much money already.
My advice to everybody is simple: go watch UFC. Screw boxing. Boxing is dead. It's not good anymore. It's horrible, and I lost all hope and expectations for boxing. UFC is awesome. Watch it on Saturday. It'll be great. Yeah, man. I said that on the radio. Everybody's like, so what do you think about the fight? I'm like, oh, this is what I think about the fight. I think
all right, and with that, we're going to close this special edition of the Unofficial Commentators. Thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Peace out, bro. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Yep. That's me, man. I saw that, and I can't believe that I stuck around to the end. All right. So, Ahmad, you got anything to add on your way out?
No. That'll be all. Thank you for having me, bro. And
all right. Well, thanks for being our specialist. You added really keen insights. Everyone check Amaury out on Twitter and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. Follow the Unofficial Comment on all of our platforms. UC underscore podcast on Twitter, Unofficial Commentators on Instagram. We're on Facebook. That's where I'm going to invite people to the UFC Pick'em. And next week we'll talk about how that went. The group just keeps growing. Jump in, join us, pick some fights, and let's see who wins. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Deuces.
Peace.